Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Let's get True here. What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good Saturday. How's everybody doing today? Hola, Argentina. ¿Cómo estás? What up, True? I miss Argentina so much. What up, Eighth? What up from Italy? I don't know why this isn't accepting. Oh, maybe. All right, let's see if this works. New phone, so changes up a bit. Glad you can catch one too, dude. Thanks for joining. All coincides. See if we can get True here in a second. For some reason, I was trying to accept him and it wouldn't join, so we'll see if Super Salty. It's snowing here today. Rain turned to snow. It was beautiful. Still have all the fall leaves on the trees. What time is it over in Europe? We got Austria, Italy, Argentina. ¿Qué hora en Argentina? What up, Cougar? It's weird. I'm accepting and it's not a. Yeah, there we go.
We're here, son.
We're
Here. What's up?
What's
fucking
up,
air
dude?
horn button.
We do need an air horn button.
Right? Dude,
What's
I
good
don't
with
know
you?
what Instagram was doing. That was weird.
It's weird. It's really weird with the new phones too.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
aspect ratios are all off and stuff. It's wild.
My shit's new too. Yeah, this shit's weird as hell. Oh, what up, Flynn? What a dumpla?
Dumpla!
You got everybody
Kensuke!
in here.
Everybody's joining. We got some international people here. How's the shop, man?
Yeah, I saw that. Earlier. It was good. We had a good first day back, man. It was tight. We got to see a bunch of like our regular customers come in. They were stoked.
Nice.
We had some new people come in, which is pretty tight. Only had one weird phone call. There's always a weird phone call when you like run a toy store. This one was asking if we had marbles.
Marbles.
And I was like Squid Game marbles. They're like, I don't know what that is. I was like, okay, that's weirder that you don't know what that
Oh, you
is.
don't know what that is, but you're asking
And
for
you
marbles. Like,
still want the marbles. Like, oh yeah, that's weird. So,
wow.
but yeah, no, it was tight. Yeah, I dropped off some commission pieces to a client,
Nice.
so they're ecstatic on it. It was 3 Mothras that I got to paint. So yeah, they're fucking
Oh,
stoked and
awesome.
sold some toys. It was a good day.
Hell yeah, dude. That's amazing. Great day.
Hell
Digging
yeah,
it.
good day.
Well, thanks for joining us, dude.
Of course, I'm honored to be here. It's crazy that this is happening.
It really is crazy that this is happening. I would have never thought that year two we'd be sitting here talking about this and it'd be what it is.
Who would have thought? Not me.
Not me.
Not me. It's fucking. When will we start carrying the marbles?
Yeah, that is the important question of the day. When will you start carrying marbles?
Strictly all marbles now. Only the ones from the Squid Game show. That's it. No other marbles. Sorry, guys.
No sizes or anything? Just one size?
No, we won't. One size fits all with this one, unfortunately.
Oh man, marbles. I remember toy stores you could buy just a fishnet of marbles.
A bag.
Yeah.
That shit was tight though, because they had all kinds of different ones in there, man.
Oh, yeah,
that was dope.
Yeah.
Shit was tight. I guess what I get where that guy's coming from now. He's probably was just like really stoned, like fuck.
Fuck,
Y'all
man,
remember
I just want to
marbles?
shoot some marbles in my living room. Like,
Shoot marbles down the block.
get all stoned. Like, a couple kids are playing marbles. It's like yo-yos are making a comeback or something. Like,
Right? Looks like 1985 outside on a summer afternoon.
yeah, just
What
walking the
up,
dog,
Clip?
man. What
God
up, Clip?
damn. Oh, look what I'm starting this weekend. My boy, the fucking
Yes,
the man itself. I'm
the
excited
man.
for this, man.
That's gonna be awesome.
Little purple codeine color paint job on it with a
You gonna use
little
some?
yellow pop.
You
Get
doing
some
custom
going.
colors, or are you gonna do premixes?
Um, I think I might be doing a little bit of both because I don't have a lot
Nice.
of purple, so I'm gonna have to make my own. Um, but like the golds and metallics, I'm gonna probably use SMS and Monster Color premix stuff. It's not much to mess around with it in those.
Dope. Can't wait to see it. Shipwreck showing up. Becadillo.
Damn,
Yeah, man.
bro.
Everybody
Everybody
here.
in here.
Bringing all the boys to the yard with your milkshake, dude. I love it.
I got so many milkshakes. So many
So
boys in my
many
yard.
milkshakes. Round them up.
I round them all up, boys. God damn.
Well, yeah. Should we get started or let a couple more of the crazies join up?
Let's go. Let's go
Let's
in
roll us
here.
out.
Lucky number
So,
13.
cerulean conversation. Love it. So, for all those who don't know, introduce yourself, my friend.
Oh, my name's TrueGunpla online. I go by a lot of other things. You can find it all on my profile. Yeah, I mean, I wear a lot of hats in this hobby, both as like sell model kits, a build model kits, involved with a lot of different other mediums like Japanese soft vinyl and miniatures, and now making fucking beats and shit. So I'm kind of just doing it all. And my
A
day job
plethora
is
of
working.
hobbies.
Yeah, and like my work is literally what I do at home too. It's marketing online, everything you fucking name it. So yeah, that's your boy. Also, Uncle Ricky. Yeah, a lot of people call my name Uncle Ricky.
Uncle Ricky.
Uncle
Busy
Ricky's
Uncle,
here.
Uncle Ricky, dude. You got a lot of spinning plates, a lot of irons in the fire. I like it. It's
Yeah,
good to see. It's inspiring.
stay
It's
busy.
a way to do it. Yep. How long you been building for?
Um, I would say 4 years, but like on and
Okay.
off. A month off. Building
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. But yeah, 4 years.
When you're like experimenting with a lot of different things and doing that, so it's just kind of like really jumping around, right? Learning new techniques.
Yeah, a lot of it's intertwined though. So like shit you
For sure.
learn with building scale models and then shit you learn with painting toys, they intertwine. But you also like I discovered a lot of those mediums because of shit I was trying to learn, like hand brushing. There was no
Yeah.
Gundam videos how to hand brush. I had to go to the miniature world and vice versa. So it's tight.
Yeah. It translates. It's cool. And yeah, that's what I really like about the Cerulean project is seeing everybody. Like people get exposed to that. And I think like the NCMS, things like that, where people get exposed to these different mediums, you're like, oh shit, like you can paint like that? Like, how do I apply that to
Yeah.
this? That's
Yeah,
the way to
yeah,
do
that
it.
shit. Sorry, I'm lagging a little bit, so I might
You're all
have
good.
you repeat a question, or I might just be kind of frozen for a second. But no,
All right.
NCMS, that shit was awesome. That show was
That really was.
the one in DC. That one, because like seeing the Gundam builds was tight, but like for me, seeing the miniature painters there was one Russian dude who was the ornate patterns on the skirt of a cavalry thing that's like this fucking big, and he had like
Yeah.
microscopic like photos and shit. That shit blew my fucking mind. But like it made me to start fucking like go a little bit harder. I'm like, yo, this motherfucker's doing this, and they cost this much. Okay, I guess it expanded the world a little bit, but we see it like I saw it with last year's book. There was
Yeah.
so many different bits there that like I've never seen before. So when we printed it, we had copies in the office, and like everyone in the shop was looking at it, and so many different people that don't build models at all. Good handful of people that were just like, "Yo, I want to try this shit. This shit's tight." And like I don't know, it's a
Like I didn't
good
know that
it's
it could be all of this. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they're like, I had no idea. I thought it was just, you build this like toy thing and that was this. I was like, nah, like this shit's way bigger than just painting some bullshit on plastic. Like,
Yeah.
and this project, like, it fucking, it shoots that shit up there.
Making it art, showing people that like, look, this is art, like sculpt, like you get the sky's the limit kind of thing with it, especially when techniques start to like overlay and you can kind of translate things back and forth. And one thing might lead you into another, like might lead you into toy painting
Yeah.
or, miniatures or back to like Gundam, like, or Plamo or just scratch building. Like some of the scratch builders out there are amazing.
They're nuts. And like, it's, it's a weird thing. And I kind of felt it today being back, like selling toys and being immersed in that world. It got me really excited to paint Phoebe stuff and start my project here. But like also going through the book gets me stoked on building model kits and gets me stoked on like doing different things that I'm like I haven't done in a while, or like I'm so busy on this thing I kind of forgot about it. When you kind of just like flip through real quick, I'm like, yo, I want to make the flying space car. I want to do that shit. Like, so like actually I think I pulled oh yeah, I pulled this because I forgot I even had this. It's a RX-7 kit
Oh, great.
that my
Nice.
buddy that Lynx Corey, he gave it to me like years
Okay.
ago, and I started it. I totally forgot about it after we moved, and I was looking at the book today at the shop, and then I was like, yo, I need to fucking do my van. And I got home and I saw that, I was like, nope, I'm finishing that shit. That shit's already halfway built too, so I don't have to do as much. So, but like, I don't know, it's a good mass inspiration because it's not just Gundams that are painted this way. There's Gundams that are painted crazy fucking ways that you would have never thought of. There's also flying cars. There's huge organic mecha creations. Like, it's just a fucking dope project in terms of
Yeah, it's
inspiration and
fun.
multimediaism, if that's a word.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you hit it with like seeing all of that. And I think people, again, bringing like their best to the table. It's not a competition. So it's not pigeonholed and like you got to produce a grunt or, a diorama or this, and people can just kind of do it all and then they
Yeah.
can experiment. And it gives them the opportunity where it's not like a very rigid um, uh, criteria that they have to meet in order then to be judged and things like that. And it's like, I feel like so much of that pressure, and this was something you brought up when I first was reaching out to people and asking them, they're like, I want to get back. What should I do? Like a contest? And you're like, no, man, like, no, like it's too much pressure. Like people don't need that shit. Like do like an art show or something. And so that's what you
Yeah.
did. And it
Yeah.
feels like it's just been so good for people because then they're like, I've heard so many stories of people being like, I'm going to try it. I've always wanted to do this. Like it'll either be, great or it'll be terrible. But if they have the freedom to do it and they know at the end that like everybody kind of wins because everybody gets this dope feature in a book. Like I love like being printed, I think is
Yeah.
one of the best feelings. You're like, wow, I'm here with like my peers, like there's my art kind of thing. And then you move on. And it's actually this like tangible um like celebration kind of thing of self and others, which I think is just so
Hold on one
cool.
second. I
So
gotta
yeah,
show
you
you
really
something. Where? Oh, here we go. So speaking of that, that's something that I wanted to bring up was that feeling of having that like physical thing, right? And like for me, with my work, it's dumb. Like we pay for these ads, but like for me to so this is Thrasher, right? This is the latest issue that came out October. Dude, I fucking made this. I
yep,
made this
that
fucking
like that
ad
is
for a
so
goddamn
gratifying.
magazine.
Like
Like I took the picture of the ski mask. I fucking did all this shit. And like, yeah, we paid money to run it in this fucking magazine, but like, yo, I can physically touch this shit. And that is the coolest fucking thing ever. To be able to like there's no GBWC winner, there's none of that shit that's gonna equate to having your work being appreciated by others that are also kind of appreciating that space that you're in. That shit is so
Yep.
fucking hard to find. It's like, it feels great winning a contest or competition. I've placed third place in a lot of IPMS and SCGMC, so I definitely know my way around the trophy bench, fellas. But having your work being appreciated to the point where it's being published it's a weird feeling, because it's not something where you make a YouTube video, right? It's very likely someone's going to stumble upon your video and watch and learn about you, but it takes a very special person that's going to buy a printed book, a physical piece of media that is expensive, whether it's it could be $10 or $100. You're buying this
Exactly.
thing that costs money because you have that appreciation for the work that's being put into it. And then now you have someone that owns not only the knowledge of you and this project and everyone that's worked on it. In a sense, they own a piece of your work. They have a piece of their creation in their fucking house that they show people, like, hey, look at this dope shit. That's like the equivalent
Yeah, you
of,
walk in
like,
and see it in someone's house, or see it in the store, like, you're there.
Yeah, or when your mom puts your fucking, like, D+ on the refrigerator, like, that's my fucking boy. Like, that's what it feels like.
Like, is that a space shuttle? What is that? And like, that's my kid's drawing. Like,
yeah, my son drew that. Well, how old is he? Well, he's 29. He's not that good at drawing. The first one.
Exactly.
That might be. Do you have any copies left of the first book?
No, they're all sold.
Damn.
Yeah, we sold them all. Like, I kept one, and then the last one I sold was to 08 Studio, because he really was bummed that he missed it. And I was like, I'll sell you my personal copy. Like, but I got the big Super Deluxo from last year.
That's the big boy.
So then I could read to the village when I'm. Yeah, the big boy.
Time.
Story time.
You're gonna put my rhino in the fridge.
Yep. Let's talk about conquering galaxies far, far away.
Yeah. Fucking.
But yeah. So
what?
Yeah, we're gonna print again this year. You're all good.
Oh yeah.
We'll just keep rolling.
Year. Yeah, that went to that got big pretty quick, because it's almost double the amount of people this year.
Oh no, it's like almost quadrupled.
Fuck.
There's like 118 registered people, dude.
God damn. But that's fucking awesome, though. Like, that is the coolest shit, because how many was it with the first book?
30.
30? God damn, that
like
is
pushing over the line. 30. Like, we had, I think, 2 late entries. Yeah, we had like 2 late entries that I allowed to come in afterwards. And yeah, we're almost 120 this year.
That's fucking insane. Excuse my goddamn French. That is fucking insane.
I'm blown away. Like,
in just a year.
I'm so humbled, and in just a year.
Well, see, that's like the dope shit about this, because, like, I was thinking about this earlier today, because someone, I brought up the project at work, and I'm in a lot of different other hobby spaces and just mediums in general. I mean, art toy land, miniature land, fucking band land, and those circles have their community helpfulness. They have their people that are trying to spread awareness or help with this or talk about said issue or do this issue, but there's none of them that are to the degree of this. And I'm not saying that to, like, stroke anyone's ego, but, like, it's truthfully, there's a lot of mediums where I just haven't seen this level of a project, and also just this level of knowledge being outside into the fucking real world from such a weird, obscure medium. If you really kind of fucking think about it for a second,
if you step
like,
back, yeah,
compared to what step back, you go, you're telling me a bunch of nerds, scale modeling and painting nerds, have published this fucking book that not only is art, but is also educational and mental health, like awareness and everything that this project is, from building weird anime plastic. It sounds like a BuzzFeed clickbait article. Like, if you try to summarize it real quick, nerds save mental health with robots. Like, that's what it feels like, but like, it is such a weird thing. Yeah. I don't know, dude. This is like probably the coolest fucking thing I've ever been a part of. And I've been a part of a lot of fucking cool things. Not to fucking stroke my own ass here, but like, this is probably one of the fucking coolest things.
Oh man, well, I really appreciate it. I mean, you were a huge catalyst for it, and appreciate all your help with it last year and this year. You know, it's really huge to just kind of have that support and advocacy, and just people who believe in it, which is, I think, really kind of the biggest thing for me, is just people just believe in it, and that belief that fosters help for the community, right? Like understanding, education, help, like resources, all of these things that, like, you wouldn't associate that, like a niche vertical hobby, like there was a dwindling hobby around the world, is now really trying to be put forward in bringing awareness around mental health. And like, even like with, Today's Build, like talking about like what they're doing. And I'm just seeing more and more people, and, like, I'd like to take credit for it, but I think it was already there that people wanted to talk about mental health. And so providing those platforms, those opportunities, those stages to have that conversation, I think has been really beneficial to the community. And it's amazing seeing it just pop up, and more people are taking it on as topics, and, sharing their own personal stories and things like that, because that's where we make change, right?
Yeah. It's not a quick battle. It's not about who did it first or fucking trying to, monetize it kind of thing. Because like, we've talked about mental health issues in our podcast, and and just like our local groups and stuff like that. I mean, my Spaz, my good friend in Buffalo, their group dealt with the passing of one of their founding members. Their founding member passed away unexpectedly, and that whole entire community, including myself, I have a video on my channel that's dedicated to him, and it was literally the last time I ever saw him was at this build meet. And, it's such a bigger thing, because there's a lot of mental health stuff too that, like I said, I've been in all these communities, but none of these communities have pushed me to a point to where I actually seeked help. I started taking, therapy and medication and counseling because of what I've seen with projects like this, what I've learned from talking with people on our podcast, what I've learned from being involved with whatever it may be, whatever avenue that's related back to scale modeling. It's such a big space that has taken what we, called the grumpy old man IPMS syndrome, of taking those mentalities that are very common in a hobby like this, because it is a very elderly and dominated hobby. And the ideals may not be sometimes up to par with today's standards of mental health and et cetera topics. And we've taken that and kind of said, we get where you're coming from, but the future's now, old man, and this is how we're kind of doing this. And it's been fast, because more and more people that I'm noticing that are, open about their mental illness, open about their sexuality, open about their gender, open about all these different things in their life, is happening more and more and more and more, to where I'm not just getting to know, the one builder I talk to every now and then personally. I'm actually getting to know a lot of people personally, because they're opening up about personal things and combining that into the medium, into the time they enjoy. And that's when you can really see that whatever that core is actually growing. it feels like a Star Trek Next
Yep.
Generation episode because you're like, oh my God, the planet's going to survive. They're going to be fine.
Yep.
And that's how I feel about Gunpla and scale modeling, is that everything's going to be okay, even though we hate all these tiny little things that are happening now. In the broader picture, the shit that's happening is something that is truly evolutional. I don't fucking know. I'm not good at speaking words, but it's really fucking good what's happening right now. And we should all be super stoked to be at this point in time of it happening.
Yep. Well, because we're this community's driving
I rest
it.
my
Members
case.
of this community discussions are driving it. And like you said, like getting that through your podcast, through a Discord, through other people's podcasts, through other people's works, things like that. Again, it's this momentum. It's a snowball effect where it's picking up more and more steam, and more people are feeling more and more comfortable saying, hey, I'm struggling. What's up? You know, and you're like, cool, like we can help you. Like, yeah.
I had a brain fart. I was gonna say a thing that I led to a different thing. That it's not a losing battle at all, because like, while I feel, you know, for example, I feel like our podcast was one of the other early ones to talk about mental health and the hobby, and now we have seen other podcasts like Sideways that are doing it as well. But that is a win. That is fucking. We want more of that. We want to help with those topics and those ideas and have that be the normal kind of thing. Because look where podcasts have evolved from, as being in kind of the know of podcasts in this hobby zone. It was just old man talking about. And again, I love our elder. I work with our IPMS people all the time, but they know we're fucking joking because they have some very dark humor themselves about their age, but. It's you know, old man talking about, here's a new military tank coming out and here's this, to where it's like, I almost put a bullet in my fucking head, and here's why. The podcast. But like, the two extremes have met themselves in the middle, to where it's like, the hobby has helped me because X, Y, Z. And now that topic area has opened up so fucking much that hopefully we see more Gundam related, or hobby or scale modeling or whatever it is, related podcasts that talk about mental health stuff. Because it's one thing I love when I find a good podcast on the subject matter that I like, but then I can also sit down and be like, fuck, these guys know kind of what I can relate to it. They kind of know what I'm going through at the same time. And we have that now. With this project, with all the podcasts, we have the other YouTube channels and series and build group projects that are going on. That shit is fucking amazing to have. And that's that part where no one loses in this battle. You can't monetize an idea like certain mental health advice. You can't do that, because it's all it does is just benefit one person to another.
Yep. Well, and everybody who talks about it, every time it's talked about, every time it's brought up, it humanizes it even more. And people can say, aha, wow, like my peer that I respect, or this hero that I look up to, has dealt with this. Like, now I can feel comfortable talking about it in maybe my smaller circle, you know, and it just moves on. And that, again, fosters ideas of being like, hey, I can do something with this within my community or within the larger community. And it can be another project. It can be another podcast. It can be another something that, again, is just creating more advocacy. And like you said, it's all winners. Like, it's not a competition. We're not monetizing. Like, this is cultivating community. Like,
it's making this big fucking thing a lot better. We do that with miniatures. We have Premonition to Paint, where we've talked about mental health issues. And I am by no means a good miniature painter, but it's just like, hey, these two dudes are. But also, let's talk about why your brain tells you to do certain things sometimes when you're painting these miniatures. And like, it's dope to see that spreading, and it's fucking tight, because like, there is a very weird still stigma about mental health, and it fucking sucks, because there are people in situations that they can't get out of that stigma because it's surrounding them and they don't have the resources that they need. So if they can eventually maybe find it through a weird fucking hobby they get into, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is. And that weird fucking hobby could be like, oh shit, like, these guys are talking about something I'm dealing with. And it just helps more, you know, like Flynn was saying, like, it seems like it's the one thing in the community that people aren't butting heads about. And you're right, because it's one thing we can come together about. We can both commiserate, and we can celebrate. And I think that's like, from what I
Yeah.
understand around cultivating community and things, those things are really what helps push people with depression, anxiety, PTSD, all of these mental health issues that arise. That pushes people forward because they can say, hey, I know you, let's do this together. Like there was a thing about building
You have a
a
friend.
community garden. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have other people that are going through the same, general experiment. May not be the exact same thing that you're dealing with, but they may have dealt with it before.
Yep.
They might, they might have gone through the same, life event that you have. And that shit builds really good connections because it's no longer the surface level of whatever medium brought you together. It is now what you deal with in the real world outside of this little hobby space. And when you have those
Yep.
connections, the root medium connection becomes so much bigger because you're no longer worrying about whatever's going on or whoever. You're just like, damn, I want to find more people like my homies. And
Yep.
then it just turns into a big fucking balloon full of
Big
gold.
balloon, a big red community balloon. Yeah, exactly.
A big
No,
community
it's
balloon.
we need to do like a big hot air balloon, just like a big castle in the sky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's good. We'll be ending the show again this year talking about community. So like there'll be things in there like last year that people can do, on a micro level and on a macro level to really build community. And whether that's just with a couple of homies or the couple of homies all want to branch out. And like hopefully
Yeah.
travel starts to become normalized again so we can all meet up at places and again be like, oh wow, shit, like it's another human. Like this is awesome. Like we've built this community together,
Yeah.
we've done this thing together. And that's really kind of it gives hope. Like it's a lot of that big thing, and
Yeah.
it is. It's just it's a dope ass community. Like I'm really really stoked on it.
As much as I complain about shit online and yell about different things and all that shit, this is hands down one of the fucking coolest things I've ever had a part of being on. Because like, there's so many other things that I like. I play video games a lot. I do this a lot, but like, this is fucking tight. Like, I
Yeah, it is.
never would have thought this would have been something I was like, yep, this is kind of your thing, bud. Stick with it.
Stick with it. Well, and you know from being involved in so many other mediums, so many other verticals that there's drama in all of those. There's bullshit, there's pettiness, like things happen. Like there is just bad
Yeah.
energy within
Oof.
those. It happens within every culture and community. But it's really again,
Yeah.
I think again I'm with you that like this community is dope in the sense of like it's more about coming together than it is pushing apart.
Exactly. And a lot of it is with finding kind of your type of person, your type of people, your crowd, whatever it may be. When you kind of, it's kind of weird because like in the Safibi world, the people that I met right away would be the people that I would love to hang out in this medium with. Like, a lot of just overall blending together, no really big problems or drama or whatever the case is. But there's still issues that exist there, and I've been told what they are, and I've seen some of them there. But it's also knowing when to say I'm not going to get involved with that because I'm having a good time
Yeah,
here, and that's all you really need. And this kind of hobby space will teach you that. It will teach you life skills, whether regardless if you're trying to learn them or not. Subconsciously, you're learning this stuff, and it's a lot of social skills, a lot of social cues and stuff that you pick up and you learn, and you just by trying to make friends because I would say it's a little bit easier to find friends in a subject matter that you also mutually enjoy. So the
for sure.
relationships you meet here might be some of the strongest ones you have for the rest of your life. If you think about it, like there's only one or two or three people from my high school that I would actually talk to if they hit me up or I hit them up. But you were surrounded by hundreds of people. Why do you only have the one or two or three people after so many years? Because that's usually what happens when you have those close relations. And I feel like here,
Yep.
I would have way more fucking people that I would give a shit to talk to than I do in high school, which is fucking awesome because I never really had that experience before.
Yeah.
Even with band stuff, there's only a couple people I talked to from band era Joel versus hobby era Joel. You know, I have a lot of friends that I talk to and tell about personal stuff and mental health and all that stuff because we've really fostered that environment here, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty amazing. It's super new to me, so it's been just really really inspiring to see.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I brought it up to you last year, and I was like, I really struggled. Like, it was really hard, and what can I do for this community? And you really nailed it. So again, I just want to thank you for being open to me reaching out to you and openly and honestly talking with me and stuff like that, because I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
boys and I.
the boys. It was an honest. It was like one of the very rare times where I get an honest question, right? Because a lot of times, which is not a problem. I love some of these questions too because I learned stuff. Because like I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna fucking look it up,
Yeah.
and we'll try it together. But like that was one of the very rare times where it was a genuine like, oh, this is like an actual fucking question, not just a shit post or how do I thin my paints, or I was like, this is an honest to God fucking question. So I wanted to give that honest answer. That's going to be the best time when you just always be honest with everything. Not everything. If it's like a war or something, or like, you did a terrorist attack or something, you may not want to be honest about it. The circumstance of proving. But, but it's overall, this shit's, I'm bad with words, but this shit's fucking tight. I'm going to bring it back down to Ricky level. This shit's dope as fuck. And I can't believe my stupid ass is a part of this shit.
Dope as fuck. Well, I'm stoked to have you a part of it.
Hold on. I gotta show everyone awesome. This. God damn it. Hold on. Sorry, I'm a little stoned, but look at this alien head I got from fucking Spirit Halloween.
Nice.
Tell me that's not the fucking coolest thing ever. It's just hanging on my fucking overhead camera mount. So when I'm painting, I just kind of look at it like, yup, all right.
I'm with it. You guys get a lot of trick-or-treaters out there?
Hell yeah. So that's something we're very excited about because we've never had a house to where we could be trick-or-treater host, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
We've always had, the downtown apartment or the neighborhood was just, I don't know, too hoity-toity, a lot of white people. I just don't want to deal with that. And where we are now is like an actual house. Like we have like a driveway, so we can we're thinking of ideas to
put the graveyard out front and stuff like that.
Yeah, a little graveyard, typical 30-year-old millennial house bullshit.
That's like us. We'll put it all out, but we had a lot of families here in the neighborhood, so they start putting out all of their decorations and stuff like that. It's definitely like one of my favorite times of the year. But when we had a lot of trick-or-treaters, it was all about the lightsaber, dude. Like a dark house, and they come ding dong.
Oh, that's tight. I never thought about that. That might be the way to go.
Yeah,
that's
kids bug out
to buy a lightsaber too.
It is a great excuse to buy a lightsaber.
Whoa! Yeah, I might do that. That might be the move for sure. But no, we're actually legitimately excited because this is the first time that me and my partner get to actually do something that feels like we're like a tradition or something. We've been together for 3-4 years. This is the first chance we have to have this tradition, so it's kind of fucking rad. But do you give out small bars or do you give out full bars?
We give out just kind of loose candy, but they can just take as much as they want. We'll just be like, yo, you want another handful? They're like, yes. I'm like, go ahead.
Yes. We're going hard. We're doing full bars.
Nice.
Retail bars. Because I have a feeling there's a couple elderly people, so I'm sure they're like, here's some church candy.
Yep.
Oh, hi. Speaking of, Rachel's here. Hi.
Fistful of candy corn. Hey.
That's the way to do it. But
just a sweaty palm of candy corn into their...
There you go. Oh my God, half of it's eaten. That's chewed up. Sorry, I'm so bad with staying on topic with this shit, man.
No, that's cool, man. This thing's all about just freestyling. Like
Shit.
we got topics, but we can just riff, like, because just talking about Halloween got me hype. Pulled out the lightsaber, and I was like, oh man, I actually got this lightsaber to battle my boy when I lived in San Francisco. He was a Sith, and I was a Jedi, and we'd go bar hopping. So we'd battle, like he'd come into a bar, and it'd just be like we wouldn't come in together. We'd like battle out into the streets and shit. It was great.
That shit sounds like so much fun to do.
It was so good, dude.
Oh my God.
Was just,
hi, egg roll.
Hey.
She's so
meow meow.
She's so over it. Oh my God. Oh, egg roll.
Pab's got the stream coming up. I'll have to jump on that after.
Oh shit. Wait, what's today?
Is Critical Build?
Saturday. Critical Build. Oh fuck. God. I need to put this shit like in my calendar or something so I can fucking remember all these things when they happen.
I finally got around to just dumping a bunch of stuff for them if they wanted a review. I got to do all the cars. I want to put up some hover cars, but
hell yeah.
I was just like, I'm gonna just dump some stuff in here. Like, what up, Irish?
Yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, we can bring it back around because you talked about like how things have helped, but we've talked recently. You've had some resources have helped you recently, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, this isn't like a referral plug because transparently, if anyone signs up for your thing, you only get $10 off. That's like a month of medication. It's not a big deal. But like, so at the start of like doing long story short, I always thought I had ADHD, and I always thought it was that. I always equated it to that. I kind of just equated where I had that and like mild depression or something. And I don't have health insurance, so I don't have a lot of options to find help or to find resources like that. But even when you do, they don't pay for jack shit for mental health, unfortunately, which I had really good health insurance at one point and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I found out of Cerebral through, I believe it was the Cutting That podcast, our podcast Patreon thing. Someone had like talked about it and brought it up. And then the moment you speak of it, you get 10,000 fucking ads everywhere about it. But it was one of those ones I was like, okay, let me try it because like I never had a definitive answer. I never had, here's why you do these things that you do. And so I signed up with Cerebral, and pretty much what it is, it's like an online mental health prescriber, counselor, and therapy. And it helps those that may not be, they can't afford to have normal therapy and prescriber help and, you know, counseling and stuff like that. It's kind of like a budget version, but it's affordable to a lot of different people because it is online. They don't have the cost of an office, a staff, whatever the case is. And through them, I actually was able to start taking counseling and start taking medication and learning why my brain works the way it works, because through the podcast and through talking with the boys and stuff about these different building strategies or, you know, burnout or whatever the topic was, we started to kind of undercover and unearth what my brain was doing in the process. Like literally from episode 1 to where we're at now has been a journey of me going, oh fuck, I don't think this is normal. This doesn't sound like the normal mode of operation for a human. Maybe I should figure out what's going on. Yeah. Because now I'm having this discussion with 3 of my very close friends, and we're all been like, yeah. I'm like, oh wait, you guys don't do that. Oh shit, okay, man. So, but
you don't lie awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything.
Yeah, I was like, your leg doesn't do that every 5 seconds. That's weird. Man, mine does that all the time. But a lot of that did kind of uncover that, and then a lot of it too, you know, with my partner Rachel, like kind of bringing it out. It got to the point where I was like, I need to figure out what's going on, and my ADHD skill is actually very low, if non-existent, but it was my anxiety that was dangerously high. Yeah, I got my little mental health report card. My anxiety was so high, it was causing my depression to also be so high. And normally when people have anxiety and they get depression, it's like a low depression because they're anxious, but mine was on the same fucking level because it was so high. My brain doesn't work correctly. And now I have medication that helps with that. And I would never have gotten to that point if it wasn't for the resource that I found through just kind of exploring other topics in this hobby. And then also the community of people that we have that also have, issues and stuff like that, because the other resource is our Discord. We have we named it mental health, but it's a mental health chat where we just just kind of just let it out.
And you either let it out, you can look for a solution or an opinion kind of thing. It's just a place to just be.
Yeah, it's just there. No one's gonna be like, you stupid fucking liberal, I can't believe you said you're just there.
Or just like, get it together, man. You're like, no, like people are, it's genuinely like there's a lot of empathy and compassion and just like allowing people just to be in whatever moment they're in.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that it's really good to have, because like when you deal with trying to talk about depression or whatever mental health thing that's going on, a lot of people's answer like, I just go outside and take a walk.
Yeah,
that's not that doesn't work. When your car needs your oil change, you don't take it out for a walk. You do the maintenance that it needs to make sure it keeps running, and sometimes it's not running correctly, so you have to adjust and fix things. You can't solve that by just go walking outside. It might help some people, but it's, it might only be a temporary fix. It might make things worse. It might trigger something.
I think your analogy is good because you can talk about like not maintaining a car, right? Or putting it through a lot of stress, right? Over and over again. And eventually you're going to have to do, we've got like the oil changes, we've got the tire changes, but we have those annual changes, right? Where then it's like the belt and the oil and and you're like, holy shit, this is $1,200.
Like, that's a lot.
But that it gets to a point where like, there's not just one thing. The walk isn't just going to solve the anxiety. Like it might help in your overall health plan that you've developed, where it's eating healthy, working with a therapist, taking medications, going, being active, whether it's riding a bike or, like you just got a bike, like, and like that's dope. Like, there you go, right there. Like, and that's multi-tiered right there, because you're getting active, but it's also a nostalgia. It's like this fun, right? Like, because being an adult, paying bills and managing life, like,
sucks.
We all want to grow up, man, but I'd go back to 6th grade and shitty homework any day. Like,
oh yeah, hands down.
So having that fun, like, and I think you're really right. And like, you can't just fix a stressed out vehicle with an oil change. Like it's not gonna happen. Like the brakes need to be done. Like, the CV joints are fucked. Like, and that's all gonna play as you're rolling down the road. Like it's gonna pull right. Like, I don't get why I'm so angry and I keep lashing out at my coworkers. Probably because you didn't address this shit. Like,
guys, because your brakes don't fucking work, bud. You got no brakes.
Exactly.
And like the funny thing is though, I've used that analogy with someone that was older than me and trying to kind of like explain it, and they're like, "Fuck, yeah, that makes sense. Holy shit, man!" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, like they understood," but I was like, "Tell your grandpa that," and they'll be like, "Oh shit, yeah, I guess you're fucking right, dude." And that's something too, where like those resources they give you, it's not just like, here's how to help when you're breathing bad or you can't do math good. It's very much like the way they the way my counselor explained it to me, it's like your life tool belt. And instead of having nothing there for not knowing what to do, you at least have something that you'd be like, oh, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I remembered this, and you do it and it helps you. That's something you can use in any situation. That resource becomes so valuable to you because it's like remembering how to tie your shoe at that point. It becomes that type of life skill that eliminates that problem that you have no control over when it happens. It's not, no one plans to have an anxiety attack. No one plans to be fucking depressed. So when it happens, you're ready. But when you're not, when it happens, and you're not ready because you don't know these things. It just gets worse and progresses worse until you can finally fix your fucking brakes and you don't have to use your feet to stop the car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I look at it as like Batman's utility belt for me. Like I'm
Yeah,
constantly
yeah,
building tools. I'm like, I'm adapting, like, cause I've got them. And like what I learned in day one of therapy still serves me in, year 10 of life kind of thing after I learned it. Like I can still
yeah,
go to a breathing technique. I can still go to saying, wait, like you don't need to react to this kind of thing. Or yeah, I'm really down right now. You know what? I'm gonna click on my happy light. I'm gonna fucking watch a funny movie, like whatever. And you realize with this cognitive behavior where you can address it. So instead of being like, God, I'm just tired of feeling shitty, you're like, I feel shitty because of this and I need to do this. And like I was stoked when you found your therapist that worked for you, because I think so often it's so hard to get access to. And people, how do you pay for it and things like that. Like my insurance
yeah.
covers 8% of my bill. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, but like I have to go to a specialist because, you know, and talk therapy and things like that. Like, um, I kind of look at it as just like entry level therapy served me, but
Yeah.
where I'm at in my journey, like I need real specialized shit, and I really wanted to tackle my trauma and PTSD, so I had to seek out somebody, and like in their resume they're like specializes in PTSD, and I'm like, that's it, because I know that they're going to be able to apply a certain therapy practice to me, and like with what you got where they're able to apply medications and things like that. I think it's important to know when your therapist can do that, or when you need a special therapist. You might just need a therapist for
Yeah.
anxiety, or you might just need to talk to somebody, and just having that understanding that you're like, you know what, like, okay, cool, like, or I've amounted this, and it's a journey. It's peaks and valleys. Like we just keep
That
cruising through life,
that
and like you said,
was
like,
yeah. Sorry, I don't know. I was no, I was gonna say sorry. Was that was what they told me when I initially signed up? Was like because I have a terrible phobia about um, medications like Xanax and perks and shit like that because of being in that culture and seeing people die because of those medications,
yeah,
and instilled a very, very fucking large fear of anything like that to take personally, to where I was emailing them, I was calling them, I was like, I don't want to sign this up, and you guys tell me I have to take this fucking thing, and they were like, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. And literally the first meeting I had, they said, obviously, like, you need to take medication. Here's what we're having. It's not bad at all. But I was like, does anyone ever sign up for this and they just don't need medication? They don't need therapy. They just need to fucking talk to someone. And she was like, yes. And that's literally what some of the services they provide. They're your counselors,
yep,
just there to fucking talk for a little bit. I mean, they're not going to try and solve a
yep,
lot of these problems. They'll be like, yeah, no, fucking me too, dude. This shit sucks. And here's some things that can fucking help with that. That's where it kind of ends. But
yeah.
just having that resource is insanely helpful.
Yeah, it really is, like just being able to talk, and then again, and like I think with a lot of like the resources that you've shared and that shared on the Cerulean, like you can call these hotlines and just be like, I just need to talk. Or if you know somebody who's struggling, you're like, I don't know how to help them. You can still call those hotlines. Like they're not just for people who are struggling, like they're for people who want to support ones who are struggling. But
Yeah.
as you level it up and take it to somebody who's then really working with you and is invested in you, it really begins to change it even more too. Because then you can, and there might be times where you just show up and you just talk, and you guys don't really resolve or focus on the solution for a day kind of thing. It's just, hey, I had a shitty
Just
week,
talking.
and yeah, and like I'm feeling bad, but I'm got good. Like, okay, like awesome, thanks for this. Like, and you move on. Like,
There's a weird stigmatism around the suicide hotline. Um,
yeah,
because I think a lot of people think it's for, like, my friend has a gun to their head and then they need help now. That's not what it's. I mean, it's there for that situation, but it's also there for, like, I think my friend might be depressed. Is there anything I can do? What should I do in the situation? They're there for that kind of conversation. They're not there for
exactly.
when, like, the exact moment someone's going to do something harmful. They're
They're
there
not
to be like, hey,
911, and
I
I
don't
think
know how
that's
to
the
initiate.
stigma. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
everyone thinks it's like 911, but, like, no, it's like it's something where I've had friends call there because they don't know how to start therapy. They don't know how to
yeah,
initialize a conversation with their parents about them feeling depressed or
Yep.
anxiety riddled. Like, it's there to help you push and help whatever the situation might be that you need help with or that someone else needs help with, because sometimes you may think it's best for, oh, I know I was depressed one time and I did this and it helped. That might be the one thing that fucking sends your friend over the deep end and fucking,
Yep.
might cause more harm. It's better to call and say, hey, here's the situation. How should I approach this? Because what you might
Exactly.
think is right is 100% fucking wrong for that scenario.
Yeah.
And that's an invaluable resource that is insanely dope that is offered for free. I wish there was other fucking things are offered for free or for low income families, but they're not. But it is a resource that we have here that also a lot of other places don't really have. And that's also a
Yeah.
very dope thing.
Yeah, it's hard to find, man, and I agree. There's not enough. Thankfully, there's more and more that are doing it, and and just in my research of trying to load up the resources site on the website, because I wanted to provide international stuff. I wanted to see what there was for international people. Like we see a lot of information. There's a lot of support that comes out of like the UK and stuff like that, and even Europe. But what about Southeast Asia? What about Western Asia? Like what about Africa and things like that? And so going through that, I found that there is so little, but there are resources globally for people that they can call that are free. And it's like we sponsor the Trevor Project. You can call them for free. Like they've got a hotline. They've got people that will talk to you. They'll talk about you. They'll talk about a friend. Like they can help you.
I don't know. I don't remember if I put this down, but did you ever? I don't remember. I'll have to look back the email. But you ever heard of Cope Notes?
Cope Notes?
Yeah. It's it's actually it's a dude that like we were like good friends or anything, but like we played in bands that played together a lot, and he's currently now in the band Prison, and he's developed an app that is in a sense like a hotline that's just message based.
Oh, nice.
Whether you just want to talk to someone, you just want someone to be there just to listen,
That's
maybe get
awesome.
some input. And I mean, he is blown up with this shit. I mean, his band's like, I mean, they're not huge by any means, but they're touring with some pretty, larger metal bands. But this thing he's done, I mean, news channels, the whole, thing, 1 million downloads. I think they just hit, whatever. I saw him post about it on Facebook.
Wow.
But that thing is fucking cool because like that kind of brings me back to I'm 29, so I guess I'm showing my age here, but like talking to your friends online, like on AIM, talking to them on MySpace, whatever the case is, because I've had some of the deepest fucking conversations with people that really helped. Well, why playing like CS:GO or some shit? Like you're playing World of Warcraft or some stupid
It's just
shit.
in the chat window. You're like, oh my God, that's
like,
life.
damn, bro, that's why, But like you've had, people have those conversations, but sometimes people aren't in those spaces or in those areas to have that conversation. He has that platform that kind of puts you in a scenario too where you can have that conversation. So that's another Cope Notes. Yeah, that's a really another good
okay, that's awesome
thing.
I'm going to add that to the site too, because I think that's a great resource for people. Because I think also too, we live in an era, right, where nobody fucking calls each other anymore out of social anxiety or whatever it is, or just the new norm is just texting. So I think being able to provide kind of a newer form of communication to people is fantastic.
That's a lot of people don't like making phone calls. So I mean, I think that
it's tough, man.
Sense.
I mean, you're putting yourself out there, like and I think it's avoidance. I think again, a lot of people struggle with anxiety and social anxiety. So again, getting those we see all the memes, right? Like of people getting all nervous when you call, but cool when you text, kind of thing. Like it's all part of it. And I think again, it's just like, is there going to be confrontation? Is there going to be? Am I going to hear something I don't want to hear? Like. Even just saying what I'm dealing with out loud is really hard for people to get over sometimes.
That's a big fucking thing. That's a leap for some people. It might be a tiny step for others. Like you just don't know. You don't know.
I've
how
had people.
They are, dog.
Yeah, I've had people in the Cerulean project tell me like, what you're doing is great and it's making me feel like I can express myself, but I'm just not ready yet. And, and that's hard. And I'm like, cool. Like whenever you're ready, or if you ever need to just talk, like I'm here to listen, like things like that. And don't ever feel pressure to be like, okay, like I've got to just get this all out kind of thing. Like,
fuck all that. Never feel pressure to do that shit. Cause that's when
like
you're make it worse. You're ruin the
you just
experience.
have to be comfortable with it. And again, I think seeing it humanized within all of us, people are like, oh wow, like dude got he got help at this resource and it's really helped him. Like maybe it can help me. And that's what's great about it. And I think there was somebody I helped the other day. There's a couple of resources that are out there where you can get 3 free, it's a trial thing for therapy. So you can get 3 free visits with the person.
What?
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's dope.
Yeah, there's a couple apps out there, I think like Talk Only and a couple of these other ones where you can sign up for it and it becomes a monthly subscription or a daily, like a visit subscription. As far as I know, it's still pretty affordable because they'll do like a sliding scale. But yeah, you can get like awesome. 3 sessions out of it, which I think is important from somebody who's had a lot of experience with therapists, because you're going to have great therapists and you're going to have bad therapists. Don't let the bad therapists derail you from getting help from a professional.
Exactly.
Like that's the biggest thing. Like, I've had some really catastrophic experiences with therapists, like, double booking me and I really needed to talk to them. I'm like, you can't do that. Like if I was more unstable, like that's the kind of thing where people walk out and kill themselves, or, they make a really bad decision and stuff like that. And so it really set me back from wanting to do more therapy, but being able to get over that and be like, hey, I need to get back into it. I need to seek this out is really such a huge step. And I just say, don't let bad therapy or a bad experience derail you, because somebody out there will help you. Like they are, again, and I've said this before, they're trying to make money. They've got to feed their family, keep a roof over their head, but it doesn't mean that they don't care about you.
Yeah, you can make money and still have an extreme passion and consideration for that field you're in.
For sure.
And seeing the sliding scale therapy and services like Cerebral really helps, because not only am I approaching someone, I mean, that's a lot of reason why I was so scared to fucking try and talk to therapies, because I'm going to go there and they're like, yeah, it's $200 a week. I'm like, I can't afford that, dude. I'm wasting my fucking time, and now I feel like I don't need therapy. But now that these sliding scale resources available, not only am I approaching them knowing that they understand that, like, I may not be able to afford therapy at all, they're going to try and fucking help. Because actually, I had that with my dentist. I've always avoided dentists because I've always had shitty insurance or it's been too much. And they have a sliding kind of scale program where they help you out. And then I was like, this is weird because you understand what I'm going through, but you're also wanting to help me with something else. And that's a very weird feeling to have, especially with like therapy and shit. Because you see it in shows. Like every time it's in a show, it's always glamorized as this big leathery office and expensive things at a pompous doctor. Like
you're clearly making a shitload of money off of this, like, and they present them as these douchebags or these cold, stoic humans kind of thing. Like,
they're not. They're humans. They're fucking human beings, dude. I love
their
my care
moms, their
counselor.
dads, their brothers, their sisters. Like they have all this. A lot of therapists I've known have gone through some traumatic shit in their life. Like, it like led them to that. Like, and I've worked with therapists before where I've been like, hey, I can't afford this. And they'll say, I don't usually do sliding scale, but I see that you really need help. Let's just pay me what you can, and we'll just keep working together. And, and those people are out there, and Cerebral is a great resource. Psychology Today is where I found my therapist, and I found them prior. And on there is a filter where you can say sliding scale. Like, I want to sort all the therapists by sliding scale or by video conference, by certain types of insurance, stuff like that.
The video therapy really helps with me because, like, I don't have a lot of time to meet with someone every, so on days or weeks.
Oh, you got to drive there. It's
and then you have the anxiety of driving there. And then, like, what if I say something stupid or look stupid? You're just face to face anywhere. You just boop.
Yep.
Hey, blah 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 blah, whatever you're gonna talk about. And like that's wild to think about too. Is like now that's an option. You can get mental medical help over the fucking phone through video. Like, I don't know, that's crazy. But yeah, they
Well, and
always make
I think the most important thing about that is it doesn't fuck up your routine. Like it allows you to
yeah,
keep a routine in life, which is core to mental health and mental well-being, and it builds that routine. So you're like, I can agree that we're going to be Tuesday at 3 o'clock every day, and all I got to know is I just got to sit down on my computer or my phone, so I'm not missing this.
yeah,
And it's like in my PTSD today statement, there's 46% of people who engage in psychotherapy for PTSD will start to see results within 6 weeks of keeping that
yeah.
consistency going. And that's huge. Like
It's massive. I mean, that's life or death for some people.
it is. It
You
really
know?
is. Like it has been for me at times where I'm just like, I feel out of my fucking mind. I completely lost my mind at 28 and moved to Argentina. Dropped everything I
Yeah,
was doing, put it all in storage, moved to a country I'd never been to, speak a language I don't really spoke, like, and just lived there.
yeah,
And it was, and so, yeah, it's like you don't want to get to that point. Like you want to be able
yeah.
to talk to people and have those. And like, yeah, like Irish is saying, my CBT is great. Like, so
That's
yeah, I
that
mean,
shit.
it's,
Oh damn, I can't. Chat's not. Fuck. Chat. I can't see chat, or
you
I can
can't see
see the
it.
chat,
Yeah.
but it's stuck. That's been happening to me on every live. The moment I type something, it stops right there. The chat. I don't understand.
That's what Moo was saying, I think, in one of his things. So,
Yeah,
but I
weird.
got I got a fun question that I saw in the chat since you didn't see come up.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I can't see it, guys.
Somebody was asking about smoking weed and its impact on mental health and if it was good for it or not. Which I've got a lot.
Woo-wee!
I know you and I could talk a lot about this shit because I just
Oh.
had a really good experience with this.
Um. Yes, and yes, but it is a tricky beast to use because you can like drinking does not help with your
No.
mental health, but like that it can be excessive. You can go down a road to where you're getting to the point where you're doing an insane amount of dabs because you just have no feeling, you have such tolerance for it that the initial idea of what it's doing is no longer there.
Yeah.
You've used the substance to a point to where it's no longer there and it's no longer fucking helping. For me, my first ever like therapy thing was a video one, but it was with I would not say a bad therapist, but like I couldn't afford it. It kind of threw me off, and they kind of pulled me to the side. Were like, CBD and THC in small dosages might help you with this. It was before a lot of legal states. They're like studies and shit are finding this. Look into it. It's not legal advice, but it's human advice
Yeah.
because it might be a fucking option. It's becoming legal in North Carolina, blah blah blah, or decriminalized, whatever the case was, and it does help. For me, I spent it was weird. There was like a year or two that I smoked weed and did other things with it, and then I was back on the straight edge train because I had a very traumatic thing, so I was very anti all that for a good amount of years. And then when kind of settled down and took a break and stopped being fucking crazy and going to shows and fighting people and slowed down for a minute, I was like, nope, my brain's not good. And that was the advice I got. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, I do remember when I did smoke for a small period of time, it did kind of calm me down. It helped. And so I started smoking and I started doing it slowly
Yep.
and noticing what affects me, what it makes me do, how it makes me feel. Are there after effects? Because I don't drink at all. I still don't drink alcohol at all. There's no medical benefit to it. It makes me feel just disgusting. I don't like it. It tastes like rubbing alcohol too. I've had the most like fruity, well mixed drinks with like 0.001% of alcohol, and that shit still tastes like rubbing alcohol. I don't know why. But it helped me get to a certain point without medication. And again, this is not saying if you smoke weed, you'll cure your depression. For some people, it might just make it worse.
It might make it
It's
worse.
not. It's
Exactly.
not for everyone. That's why if you're thinking about it and you live in a legal state and you want to start small, communicate that with the dispensary you're going to.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a
Because
great talk with the bud tenders. Be like, hey, I struggle with
talk with them.
anxiety. I struggle with depression. Like,
That, and I will say because my girlfriend used to work at a CBD space, and before then she worked at head shops, and that is the conversation that they want to hear because there's
exactly.
so many people going, which one's gonna get me fucked up, man? If
Yeah.
someone's like, hey, I know you're not a doctor, but here's what I'm struggling with. Do you have anything that will help? And if they're like, no, but you got to smoke the Super Dong 5000, it'll get you
Yeah.
fucked. Get out of
Well,
that
you have,
situation.
yeah.
Get out of that situation. Find somewhere that's really like, okay, this strain's going to be good for this. This strain's going to be good for that. Now, if you're like me and you don't have that luxury, it is risky because you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're receiving. Some things make you do this, but you think it's doing this because someone told you is this. Obviously, of course, but in a lot of states, CBD is a good resource because it's legal in a lot of areas, or isn't it nationwide? I don't remember. It's
And
statewide. In North Carolina,
CBD is legal nationwide. We have a client who's in nutraceuticals that does CBD
okay,
stuff. So it's statewide. It's legal. And then in majority of states, even like Utah, is you can get a medical card for marijuana here. Like,
yeah,
so
I'm
even
in
though
the
they're
one
like,
state
the Mormons
who
won't let you
can.
buy. Well, now we can get 6% beer, but that was within the last like year or
Jesus
two.
Christ,
Dude, it was
yeah.
at the Zion Curtain. They wouldn't make mixed drinks in restaurants in front of children for fear that it would corrupt them. So even in
What the
states like
fuck?
here, yeah, I got some Utah stories for you. Like,
Jesus, man.
but yeah, I think it's look into medical programs, things like that. But I think starting slow, things like that. I think also understanding what are you trying to treat with it.
Exactly, because that's the biggest thing I always hear from people is like, oh, I tried something that made me feel funny. You were smoking weed because you wanted to get high with your friends and do stupid shit.
Yeah,
When you
and
look at it different, it's
yeah,
fine. It's fine. Go do it.
that's my background. I started getting high at 13, like smoked weed with a
Yeah.
skate crew all the way through. Lived in San Francisco. Friends worked at shops. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
Like more weed than
It,
you can imagine. It probably wasn't good for me because it was just too much.
yeah.
And it created a high tolerance that once uh, cartridges and concentrates came onto the market, I got into those a bit. And those
Oof.
things will while you the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And it led us down a road because I was like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing on my cartridges. And so we looked into it, and a 90% dump of THC into the system is not good for you.
No,
Like
no, it
it's
is not.
just like shooting one of those 5-hour energies. Don't do that. Like
Yeah.
not good. Body is not designed for that. So,
It's not.
from my experience as a long time smoker, don't stay in just the flower. Go with the low end flower, go with the low percentage flower, talk to your bud tender, ask what's a low percentage. Stay in the indica realm if you're trying to treat anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
depression, things like that. If you want an upper because you feel depressed and you can't get out, try a sativa. Go outside. But the sativa, you got to be careful with that anxiety. Like I had to give up smoking because I got so sick last year, and going cold turkey after 25 years, 30 years of smoking was
Uh-uh.
nuts,
No, sir.
nuts.
No, sir.
Caffeine was harder. Caffeine was hands down harder to go cold turkey on than smoking.
That one I
Um,
struggle with. I don't think I could do it. Like
it's rough, man. It was
it's a
rough.
rough one. I did
So
soda and that was rough.
yeah, so I had to cut all that out because the anxiety was so high. And so recently I was talking to a bunch of bud tenders, and a lot of them had struggled with anxiety too. And so we were talking about the indica strains and things like that. And I had to slowly get back into smoking, and I have to be very conscious of when I smoke. Is it something where I'm trying
Mm.
to treat? Do I feel like I need to kind of be calmed down? Is it okay right now? Is it going to cause a sense of paranoia? Things like that. And you just want to be really careful with any sort of thing. And I talk openly with my therapist about marijuana usage. I
Same,
also
yeah.
microdose, and so I'll talk about that. And so
Mm.
having somebody that has an understanding of that, because again, you have a privacy law, so you can talk to your therapist, tell them that you smoke weed. They're not going to run to the cops or anything like that. They can't do that
Yeah.
shit. So talk with them, because again, treat it like a medication, treat it like an
Mm.
ibuprofen, treat it like an antidepressant, things like that. So you have data behind what you're doing when you're using any of these substances.
Yeah, and that's good too, because and if you're in a situation where it's not available, obviously the only advice you can give is just be as safe and cautious as you possibly can be. Only trust that you can trust, people that you can trust. A lot of things, I mean, that's where I had my bad experiences. People look at the medication, people looked at it as a fun thing, and for me, it was how you fucking ate the next day kind of shit. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it is something that is being used, hopefully, as a medication, as a thing that can help with a thing, because a lot of this is scientifically proven. It's not mumbo jumbo. And that's where the research comes in, and that's where
Well, I mean, they're having
asking these
ketamine
questions.
studies right now. There's big breakthroughs with ketamine therapy, microdosing in therapy. If anybody's watched Fantastic Fungi, give it a watch. Because there's attributes to these plants, these things that naturally occur in nature that can help us. And so microdosing has been fantastic for me. Would I love to do a big trip out in the desert in a safe place? Sure. Really, I'm using it right now for medical purposes. I want to do it for my mental wellness, not to just go out and party.
Exactly.
And this last year I stopped drinking, and I felt that's been great. I really have no desire to drink again. Because like you said, there's really no benefit to it.
It's like smoking cigarettes. There's nothing you gain. You might think, oh, well, I'm less stressed when I smoke a cigarette. That's not the case. It's just whatever weird fixation, it may be a routine or a habit that's making you feel better that you have to break. And I mean, my parents struggle with smoking and not smoking all the time. And they've recently, tried to break the habit again, and they're back on it. And it's something where people don't really see it as a problem, because everyone smokes cigarettes and everyone drinks alcohol because it's the thing that Americans do, or whatever the fucking case is.
Your tolerance goes up and it just becomes normal, and there's social cues and triggers that say, hey, we're gonna have a drink or we're gonna have a cigarette. And that shit happens subconsciously. That's not a conscious choice. Too. Yeah, it happens with weed. And so Young, the guy who asked, he's like, yeah, I've been abusing it with carts and I'm trying to slow down. First day completely sober until night, and it was so hard. Yeah, dude, carts are fucking hard. And if you can get out of those, get out of those. Just put them away.
It wasn't designed to do that. THC wasn't designed for that.
If I could attribute it to something or make an analogy, it would be like alcohol, and it would be a shot versus a beer.
Exactly.
And you just sit there and you're just dunking shots. You're gonna get fucked up. You're gonna get gout. You're gonna get liver disease. You're going to go downhill very quickly, because I've seen it happen.
The worst is you're going to get used to it. That's the worst, is you're going to get used to it. And it's like when you think your shit doesn't stink, and then you find out it does, and it's too late because you've been so used to the shit just in your nose.
You take a shot before work, and then you're rolling in alcohol, workers can smell alcohol in your breath. And there's these things that happen. And as I think with marijuana, we don't really attribute it as much to kind of the really ugly stuff that happens with alcoholism. Yeah. It can be abused. You can be a stoner, and it will be detrimental to you. And so, I would say if you're coming off carts, dude, pick up some low grade flower, just chill on it. And if anything, start moving towards edibles. And don't abuse them, but just start working towards it. And again, set up some sort of ritual that can help you. And I had to go through this. So I was breaking flour down into butter so then I could make cookies, and I could dose those out and make tincture and try and get it in a different way so that I could slowly taper off of it. Because I couldn't smoke. With how inflamed my chest was, I just couldn't do it.
You're also forming a habit that is a good habit. You're cooking, you're getting this routine of preparing this thing to where it's second nature to you at that point, to where you kind of don't think about it, to where now cooking at some time is now your routine, or baking or whatever the case is now your routine. And I've seen people do that. I mean, the butter thing is a huge help, because a lot of some of our friends will make a lot of baked goods, and then now they're just normal baked goods because they're good now, but they love fucking baking. So like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good avenues that help.
Can lead to a lot of things, and it slows the whole process down. It makes you more conscious of your consumption. And that's really a big thing. And like, you can apply that method to, you know, a lot of people. So that method really kind of is a lot of people use that in eating, and like using a larger plate versus a smaller plate, slowing down how quickly you eat will actually fill you up faster than just like shoveling food in your mouth, which will ultimately leave you hungry. And so again, just being conscious of that consumption will really help you begin to kind of get control of that.
Are there any other questions? I can't see the chat. I'm
So let's see. We got another one. Space those edibles. That shit will creep up on you hot. Yes. Be very careful with edibles.
I've thrown up.
Very careful with edibles, especially baked goods, because baked goods are very difficult to measure the amount of grams that you will receive per one. So if anything, go with gummies. Gummies are regulated. I'd start with a 2.5 point gram, a 5 gram, 10 grams starting to get into party time. So be really careful with those.
Also, baked goods, you risk kind of habitually just eating them. You're like, oh, this is good. You're like, oh, fuck,
oh, this is delicious. Like, this brownie's fantastic. And you're like, you're supposed to eat an eighth of that brownie. I'm not going to drive you to the hospital, but the next 4 hours are going to be fucking hard. Like,
they're going to suck. Here's some CBD.
They're going to suck, dude. Like, yeah. Let's see. I've only been smoking flower this week. Thanks for telling me carts aren't good. I've been trying to tell myself for years. It's like dabs. It's like things like that. There's a time and a place, right? And I look at a cart, I look at a dab like party time. Let's get fucked up. Like, we're doing like shots, boys.
Sake or whatever the highest percentage of alcohol is. That's that.
That's that. And so I think there's a time and a place for that. In my time, in my place, in my life, there's not that anymore. I don't need to get that fucked up. I don't need to get that stoned. Like, it's not about that anymore. And same with alcohol. And I struggle with alcoholism. Like, I was to a point, I get a personal bottle of sake when I go to a bar as a warm up.
I don't. Yeah, that's a lot. I know.
It's
a
lot,
like,
dude.
People buy little shots of that. That's my.
I do my own. I do my own sake bottle, or like there's Abbey ale that's made by monks. It's called Chimay, and I would do half a dozen goblets of that. That's like 9-10%.
God, that's
insane, dude. Yeah.
That's
so and working in advertising fostered a sense of alcoholism because we had mobile bar carts coming around. Dude would roll up to your desk, mix you a drink, and give you a beer, and just go
I
off.
hated those places. I could not work
rough,
there, man.
You know,
Ubisoft had that.
Yeah. Ubisoft. Yeah, Ubisoft's. I know that office well.
Hated that shit.
Bad. So let's see. I feel like I can talk about my weed problems with friends. I feel like an addict because I'm a sad boy. You're not an addict, dude, because you recognized it.
Yeah.
We all become addicted to things. It's easy to do. We can become addicted to buying models.
Scale modeling.
It all happens. Human beings are addictive by nature. We get addicted to things. It's the dopamine. It's why variable ratio with Instagram and all these other things is so fucking big, is because we get addicted to it. The brain gets a charge out of it. So don't look at it as addiction as a negative or as an addict kind of thing, a junkie. Look at it as something where you're like, hey, I've created a problem for myself. But since recognizing that problem, I now can develop a solution. And you yourself developed it. I'm going to get off the carts. I'm going to smoke some flower. Like, we're good. So don't be a sad boy about it.
Problem solving, baby.
Yeah, it's problem solving. Be stoked on it. Be happy that you've recognized that and you're taking the necessary steps. And then we can all rap about it here. Like, we can normalize it, right?
Be a sad boy because you like Young Lean.
Yeah.
Be a sad boy because of that. I'm a sad boy. God, man, that's a person shit. You want to talk about fucking mental health struggles and coming out the other side? Young Jonathan, man, because I was there fucking day one, and I'm the fucking sad boy, drain gang old head. But I watched that fucking poor kid go through stardom to literally mental institutionalized to fucking drug abusing to now where he's good. Like, he's at a good spot. And, like, that's a fucking journey. So y'all should listen to some Young Lean. Young Lean doer.
Fuck TED Talks. This is the place to be. Yeah. Cerulean's going to be TED Talk here in like 5 years. We'll be on there. We'll be up there old, talking about how plastic robots saved the world.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, I used one pair of clippers.
Now I've got them on my fingers. Oh, finger
Oh
clippers.
man, this is too good. We could do this all night.
Oh God, I didn't even fucking notice
Yeah,
it's been
I'm
an
like,
hour. It's
I should
changed.
probably
My
be a good
bad.
host and make sure we're not ran until midnight. But so let's get into this. What are some things you wish you would have learned earlier in the model making?
Oh man, just having fun. Like I wish I listened to my own advice that I give now. Ironically,
Ha!
uh, like I wish there was another Joel doing that when I kind of got into it because like I learned a lot about myself with that shit of like worrying about. I mean, a lot of that was my fucking anxiety that we talked about earlier, but like just recently I've kind of learned how to step back and be like, it doesn't matter what other people think, which
Yeah,
is weird because I come from a marketing and a video and a photo background to where I do have to give a shit about what the client thinks.
very much
But
so, down to very like minute detail.
minute, yeah. But y'all hoes ain't the client right now. Y'all the homies, so I don't have to worry too much about what you think. I mean, obviously, not saying crazy, stupid shit, but like, well, are they gonna think my paintings are good? No, they're gonna be worrying about did I have fun painting that fucking thing I
Yeah,
spent time on? That's the kind of shit. So like, I just wish I don't remember what I originally put. I might have been in a mood when I wrote that email, but
routines. Routines was
yes,
your.
you can tell routines are still not a part of my thing. But yeah,
We've
I
had
wish
many discussions around the routine generation
I can't.
machine that we all wish we had.
Ugh, I can't fucking get into it, man. I'm trying. I'm trying, and it's little things that are helping, like taking medication, like having the counseling, like bikes and doing things, and making music for an hour a night, whatever the fuck it is. Like that shit really does help. But I wish, in general, the best hobby advice that I've seen in practice really work is routines. I look at people like Zach and people that make content on a daily, whatever their schedule is, basis, and I'm in awe of that. I fucking wish I were her. Who's her? Because like that shit is fucking. It is such an amazing concept to me because I have such a hard time doing it. You all have all seen it. You've all seen it with my shit. I do a video like once a month, or it's like chaotically for 2 weeks. There's like 10 new videos, or like with the podcast, there'll be fucking 5 episodes that come out and all this new shit. And there's 2 months where people don't know where I am because I have a hard fucking time with that. But like, I've seen people like Zach and people that also just started miniature painting last year and they stick with it because they're doing like a hobby streak. They're doing whatever it is that they're doing daily, whatever their schedule allows them to do, and they are growing in skill so fucking fast. It's just like I wish I could do that. I'm trying to rewire myself to do that because that is the number one thing. I mean, you ask an IPMS person, oh, how'd you paint that? Practice. That's practice is fucking a routine. If you
Yep.
talk to some content creator, how do you do this? It's just a routine. I treat it like a routine.
Yep.
That's the number one answer to anything is practice, practice, practice. It doesn't matter what it could be. It can be making a model kit to disemboweling humans. Practice, practice, practice is what you need to where you can get to that fucking point to where you are confident in your thing to where you can add more into your routine and you add more and more and more and you get all those tool belts like going to therapy, like the CBT things, like microdosing and weed and having conversations with people. All these things come back down to a routine.
Yep.
And I
And you've
fucking
got
wish
each
I
one of
learned
those
more of
because
that.
well, it's tough, man. Like because I think life ends up turning into herding cats, and especially when
Yeah.
you're like as busy as you are and stuff like that. Like you're herding fucking cats, and you're like, do why? Like, and you can't
Why are
step
there
away from.
cats, not
Yeah,
dogs or something?
exactly. And like, why do I have to like convince these fuckers to get in the line?
Yeah.
And it helps because again, it just builds that routine where then it becomes normal. So again, breakfast
Yeah.
happens, walk happens, work, and you just go through it and you make sure. And it might seem mundane. I don't know. And maybe that's like a bigger conversation is like a subconscious aversion to routine because it makes us feel like we're old or it's mundane kind of thing.
That's what
When in
it does to
actuality,
me.
it
Real
creates a really,
shit.
yeah.
That's how I
In
feel about it.
actuality, it can create a
I don't
really
want to
strong
do it.
structure. Like, but I
Yeah,
wonder that because I think so many people are averse to a routine. Oh, I got to do it again. Like, fuck. Like, you're like, yes,
yeah.
do it again. Get up, do it again. Like, I just finished 12 weeks of working out every single fucking day, and it was just like, it was great. I'm like, done. Sign me up for a whole nother 3 months of that. Like, I'm ready to go. Like,
I need to get there. I mean, like I always hated homework as a kid. I always
yeah,
hated doing all this shit as a kid, and that comes back into it might be something that is trauma or PTSD related that you don't know about yet. That's something
yeah,
that my therapist said to me. Like, they're like, has anything? The big question they always ask: has anything traumatic ever happened to you? And usually your answer is no. And she was like, "That's what you're saying now, and I understand that." She's like, "But it could be something as little as someone yelled at you the wrong way 5 years ago.
yep,
It could be this little fucking thing that happened, and then you kind of sit there and go, "Oh shit, yeah, okay." And then the answer is usually like, "I don't know. I probably, but I don't know." And that's where you want to get to, where you can kind of sit back and be like, "Fuck,
dude.
there could
70%
be
of
something."
adults, 70% of adults have experienced a traumatic event in their life.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
insane.
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
and we just bury it and things like that. But it's that routine again will help you get through those. It'll help you move through those. Again, it gives you something to look forward to. And yeah, so I think that's huge. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think having maybe just a tongue in cheek conversation around a subconscious aversion to routines seems like a
Yeah.
fun deep dive one evening. Super stoned. Why do
Yeah.
you not like? Well, I don't
What the
know. It's
fuck's
just
wrong with me?
yeah. Why can't I do this? But I mean, it comes back. It also, there's other factors in it too. Burnout's a huge one. Burnout, you'll
Yeah.
stop doing dishes. Like you'll stop coming home from work, doing the necessary chores to, keep your house in working order. And so then you can go and do a half hour, an hour of hobby time or whatever it is. So, being conscious of those things like, hey, I'm suffering burnout right now. So a routine's going to be really difficult for me. What part of a routine can I hold on to? Do I go to bed at the same time every night? Like,
Yeah.
and it can just be one thing, but keeping a routine, you can build upon those.
It's
Half
recognizing
hour,
that too,
yeah,
of saying, okay, I think I'm at that point where I need to chill for a second.
yeah,
What's something that I can let go of that's not going to affect anything?
yeah,
If you can
exactly.
have
Like
that internal conversation to yourself, that's a big step. That's a
for sure,
big
I got
step
too many
forward.
spinning plates. I got to just take one down right now. Like,
Yep.
set it aside, walk away. It's okay. Like those are the big ones. Oh yeah. Well, let's see. I got one question today, which was what inspires you as a modeler, and how do you rep in your builds and kits? And I think a lot of that comes back to also the question of who or where do you find your inspiration or influential? Like what spaces? Is Instagram? Is it out in the world? Magazines?
How much time we
Everything?
got?
All the above? Like
All the above. I mean, I am very, very lucky to have a career that directly influences my scale modeling and my art shit because they are the same. They're intertwined. Everything I do art for here has an impact at the shop. I paint a good toy, it could be sold at the shop. If I do a shirt, blah 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 blah. It's all things that create my mind, but my main influences are things that are nostalgic to me,
dope.
things that I wish I would have known about, wish that I had when I was young, things I remember seeing. And then I kind of take that funnel and try to widen it. I find the things I like, and then I try to find more things that I like instead of taking that I really liked Adult Swim growing up and making that my whole thing. I take that I really liked Adult Swim and branch out from that. I learn
Yeah,
about who did the advertising, what different shows people are watching, what was the culture like in Japan, what was the culture like in America that I wasn't witnessing because of my age,
yeah,
what was this, what was that. And I take that in and I just enjoy it because you find newer things versus trying to funnel yourself into this one thing. Like, for example, I remember I liked tech decks as a kid. And I was like, oh, and is that still a thing? And then you find out fingerboarding is a thing. And then I found someone that makes a Gundam fingerboard,
Yes.
and I use this for a toy photo shoot. And like, so it intertwines. It gets fucking,
Yeah.
you find inspiration in weird areas you don't think you would find it. But as long as you can kind of funnel your interests and your inspirational things in, and you try to funnel it back out, that's where I find inspiration from. It's from all these things that I really just fucking enjoy and I love, and I try to find more obscure resources. It's a lot of nostalgia and obscurity. I try to find the weird things that people don't know about, not because I want to be the first person that knows about it, but I like that feeling of learning about something for the first time. In a lot of cases, I've thought I might have been the first one to know about my friends group, and then I learned there's a national fucking fandom for this thing, and it's dope because you're like, fuck, now I found all this other inspiration. So Phoebe was a big thing for me because I only really knew about it from my boss, from the owner of
Yeah.
the shop, because he had his collection in there, and then we learned more about it. And then I was like, well, they're just airbrushing. I fucking airbrush. I love it, just doing random shit. And then I get into the hobby and I funnel it down. Like, I like the 90s. I like this style of art toy. It's from Japan. I really love Japanese culture. And then I bring it out. And then now I'm finding there's dudes that paint Phoebe that are into model kits, dudes that are in metal bands. There's like a hip hop culture behind it. And that leads to other things that I've already have an interest for. So it just comes hand in hand. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I find my inspiration, is I take the shit that I like and I try to learn more about it.
Well, I think it's apparent in like what your end product is. Like it's, you got these really eclectic builds and like really like cool stuff. And you're like, you can see that love of the nostalgia and really the exploration of all of this inspiration that you accumulate.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. I love, like, I never knew about Shifubi before you, and I'm like, this shit's kind of fresh. Like,
It's
I'm kind of
just
feeling
tight.
this.
It's
Like,
just tight, right?
yeah,
It's just dope.
yeah. I was just telling Body Hammer because I sent him a muscle man. I was like, you should Shifubi the muscle man. Like,
You start, yeah, once you learn like how the paint style operates and how like the culture operates. Like, for example, I haven't posted this anywhere, but this is one of those little like mini Cavaco
yeah,
kits. And this one I did like an old Bullmark 70s like hyper gloss, just blue
dope.
and silver paint job. And
Yeah,
like, I haven't posted about it, but like, I also don't fucking care because I get a look at it. I'm like, God, that thing's fucking dope. But no one knows about it except for right now. That's it. It's like my little dirty little secret. Like, no one's gonna know about it because like it's something I did that brings me joy. But
yeah.
it's two mediums that I've branched out so far into coming together. I'm like, that's fucking cool. That's tight as fuck. And you start doing shit like that. Like John Lynn, she's been doing I literally have one in here. They're doing these. Look, like,
Yep.
who would have thought to do
I,
Haros artistically?
it's such an amazing series. Like, I love seeing the exploration and the evolution of it. I'm like, I want to put these all in a fucking gallery. Like,
Yeah,
just have
they're
people
so
walk
cool,
quietly
and
by
like
them and just,
that's
they're so cool.
and hearing how many people are like, don't touch that, don't touch it, don't touch it.
Yep. Yeah,
There'll
well,
be
and
a,
just
there'll be a
giving it
lot of
that
that.
respect, giving it that kind of that prestige. It's something I'm really trying to work. Like, I wish COVID would just fucking end already, because I'm really trying to put together a show in Los Angeles where we treat models, miniatures, basically the Cerulean project in person, in a
That's
white
we,
gallery
yeah.
with some hip
That's
hop, with some skater, like, like with some street culture, like just really like art show. Like, let's do a fucking old school art show.
that's what we were trying to do with Mecha and Monsters. That was bringing
Yeah.
our idea was to bring practical sci-fi movie modelers and Gunpla modelers together and have this showcase event. And we're gonna like do like the first ever Gundam art show or Gunpla art show, and COVID
Everybody
fucked it
walks
up.
around
But
sipping little cups of wine, and
yeah, it was
it's
gonna
all
be like,
nice, formal attire. And you're like,
yeah,
yeah,
this
because
is
again,
some
it
like
gives that
funny
that
bougie
prestige.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like
Get it?
we did that before. We did that with our kaiju art show. Our kaiju art
Nice.
show was like one of the first kaiju art shows in our state,
That's
and it
dope.
was this thing where we had like big names sending, like Jacob Bannon did this huge original Godzilla
Wow.
piece. Like we had Jeff Whitehead do a piece. We had Jeff Zorno submit his pieces. He literally draws Godzilla for a living.
Yeah.
And then we also had like we had there's another local artist that was it wasn't Tino. Tino had stuff there too, but we had a bunch of local artists. We had one that has become a really good friend that's in Japan, and she really didn't have a whole lot of. Wasn't like she had 10,000 followers. She had like 200 or something. But she sent in the artwork, and it's this Mothra piece, and it's one of my favorite pieces that I have. And I was like, this is the wildest shit ever. And one side of the wall, we have people that literally do stuff for Godzilla. And then
Yeah.
the other side of it, we have someone that's just a fan in Japan. There's so many people in Japan that love Godzilla.
Yeah.
And here I've somehow have curated the one that likes our shit. So like if that's something that you're trying to do with the Cerulean project, I'm dropping the fucking art show here, and we're gonna fucking focus on that. And Uncle Ricky's gonna fucking DJ that shit with some fucking hip hop shit. But no, that'd be fucking awesome. I always wanted to bring that culture to it because it's there. It's so fucking close. It's so fucking close because I've noticed like my clothing line, and I've noticed other clothing lines in this space do pretty good. We actually ironically do pretty fucking well. I will say that the support I get from everyone buying my merchandise really helps me be able to afford to fucking pay bills and shit. Without it, I would be fucked right now. I would definitely not be living. I'd be living in a very shitty apartment. This house isn't that great, but it's definitely a lot better than whatever I had in my life. But like, it's
providing growth to your life, growth and stability.
Yeah, and the culture is so fucking close to being there to where it can be looked at as less technical and skill based to like, yo, I just want someone to be like, yo, that's fucking dope, and I want that. Like, I want to do some shit. Either I want that or I want to do some shit like that. And what I love about Gunpla, it's the I want to do shit like that crowd. And what I love about Safibi is I want that crowd. So I can combine my two, and I love painting things for other people, and that doesn't really exist in Gunpla, but it does in Safibi, so I can satisfy that there. And I really love being inspired, and Gunpla brings me in there. So it's this cool avenue, and I think the hobby as a whole, we're getting there. I mean, fuck, there's a Supreme Gundam. I know everyone's shit talking. I know everyone's thinking it's the dumbest thing in the fucking world, but you have to understand that look at what Supreme is. If you don't know what it is, watch the documentary about them. You might think it's just dumb hype B shit now, but the way they started to where they are now, and now they're fucking with our thing, that is a massive. The fact that Bathing Ape did one, that was the one we all should have been like, oh fuck, this.
It started like Bathing Ape for sure. Like, well, because like Hundreds is probably around the corner of doing one. Like a lot of these big companies are, and like the Supreme Crew is like those dudes are like close to me. Like I got the Supreme Gundam like on weight basically. Like those dudes are really dope. Like they're good fucking people. And the hype around it gives it this weird,
it's a negative,
this weird
vibe.
Thing.
Everyone gets
it gives this like negative vibe, and you're like, yo, they were so like the way that it started, and like who they sponsor and how they like lift up neighborhoods and shit like that. It's dope.
It's insane. So, like, it's not just the Odd Future clothing line. It's fucking much more than that shit.
Well, and the fact that they're taking notice in it, and they went so far. Like I gave my friend shit. I'm like, yo, you should do a Gundam. Like, and that was last year. And he was just like, we don't do that shit. And like I was giving him a hard time because I was like, so now you guys are dropping a Gundam, huh? Like there's so many red ones out there. You could do that shit, but like that gives that status. And coming from like I've done my life prior, I did painting because I had photography shows in San Francisco, white wall shit, like 111 Mina hip hop, like big fucking shows. Like I painted live at a Yahoo Christmas party. Like it's fucking that, but that vibe, being in a white wall gallery, seeing your stuff in there, it all of a sudden you're like, I make art. I don't make, I don't paint a figure or make a robot. Like I make art, and it gives that, raises that sense of worth and self like so much.
That was so going back to the Kaiju art show. That was I did an entry for that. It was a Mecha SD Godzilla kit, and I didn't do it like I was building a model kit. I did it like I was building something people are going to look at, not modelers, but kaiju fans.
Yeah.
And seeing people in people that are high of notoriety that were there that night, people that I really respect, that I know personally, people that I did never met. And I'm like, oh fuck, why are you here? They crowded around my thing, and they weren't like there's seam lines on it. They were like, yo, what the fuck? This is
Yeah,
dope.
like what? Like
That's why I really wish this medium was more art friendly and more art driven. It is not art driven right now. It's technical skill based. Am I better than this bar that's been set? And until that bar just doesn't fucking exist, it's gonna keep doing that to where the bar just keeps getting higher, and just the same stuff is being tacked on, to where you feel like you come in, you have to follow these steps, you have to appreciate, you have to do this way, you have to do it that way. Fucking why? Why do we have to do it? And that's like,
make your art. Do it for you.
and that's we recently went to San Francisco 2 weeks ago. I don't even remember, probably a month by now. We went to San Francisco to interview Brian that owns and operates Super 7.
Hell yeah.
And his journey is very much like Supreme and all these other companies that are huge now, that people are learning about think, oh, that's just the fucking big toy company that sells Walmart.
They're just making toys.
They're just huge.
Oh,
there's your licensing. No, that's a very small team of people that have such a fucking high passion for what they do that they're just fucking crazy about it. It's not just this little fucking thing they clock in for 5 hours and go home and that's that. They're done with Super 7. It's literally their life and their dreams and their accumulations. And it's not, and when the interview goes up to you guys will see this, is not just him. It's not just Brian from Super 7 doing this. Everyone has input. Everyone has thoughts. Everyone has ideas. Everyone is there to help with what they're helping with at that company. And I really think that like that kind of mentality and having a company like Bathing Ape and Supreme get behind Gunpla, it's much more than financial. It's not, you got to realize when Supreme does something like this, they're not getting the flipped prices that's selling on for eBay. They get the initial MSRP and that's it. Yeah. That's all they're getting. Anything past that's fucking, they don't see it.
They don't see any of that. Yeah.
People sell our shirts and our records and now our toys, they resell that shit. We don't get a fucking dime of it. The band doesn't get a dime of it. So when someone buys our shirt and they tie-dye it and they sell it for a profit, we don't get that money. We got the initial whatever the shirt costs and the band got the shirt and that's where it ends.
Yeah.
But having that type of eyes on us and that type of
that exposure, like
culture. I mean, think about the culture surrounding streetwear, hip hop, skateboarding, BMX, all these things. There's so many other things that come into this and have our eyes on it now. They're like, I remember Gundam. I remember this. I remember that as a kid, but it's a DJ, but it's a fucking dude that's into guns. It's a dude that's a skateboarder. It's a dude that's a doctor now. Because they saw this article about Gundam and Supreme or some weird thing on some clickbait shit. Now we have those eyes on us. And then when they get involved and they get in, they're like, wow, this is really not like that artistically friendly. It's just people repainting the same thing and to make it look like the show. That's such a fucking bummer. I want it to be like Safibi when, like, for example, not to toot my own fucking horn, but like I have a lot of rappers that I've met because of this hobby.
Crazy.
One of them out, ASAP 12 from the ASAP Mob, like with ASAP Rocky and shit. He got into this shit because he saw hip hop influences and other shit on his radar. Same thing with death metal bands. A lot of our bands that we work with, they find out a Gundam because they go to my page and go, oh shit, there's some Gundam shit on there. And bringing those in and having that response, it's not the response that I hear a lot. That's very comforting. I've talked to a lot of these rappers and stuff. They're like, yeah, this is tight. And then I show them my Sufibi stuff and they're like, yo, this is fucking cool. They get into it because you see the artistic shit immediately with it. You see the creativity that went into it. And they're like, yo, let me cop that. Who else does this shit? That kind of shit like that. You get into that fucking world until someone looks at Gun and be like, yo, this is fucking cool. You know, this is a cool concept. They start like really picking it apart and they know nothing about the subject matter. I think that's where we're at a good spot. Is where outside looking in, it's like, damn, this looks tight. This looks creative. This looks like artistic expression. That's where I think in my dream world, that's where we should be at. But that's just
Yep.
my shit. Some people may not feel that way too.
Well, and I think there's like, I think you can do something super technical that replicates a film and it could still be art, but
Yeah,
like
for sure.
be also open to like what Jay's doing. Like don't knock her for fucking polka dot and like doing like a wash
Doing
or
a
a polka
crazy
dot.
paint job.
Like, they're all amazing. I'm like, these are all fucking stunning. Like
Yeah.
this is somebody's artistic. It's a blank canvas. Why are you gonna knock somebody for painting a square one way or another? Like
Dumpla doing the crazy funny
yeah,
builds. I get like a lot of people see it because it is something different. But I do feel like a lot of people reacting to it, they're just going, "Ha, that's funny," and that's it.
yeah,
They don't appreciate that like there are influences, there's creativity, there is inspiration put into this that made him make a God Mars robot vacuum or Die Ruger, Gundam vacuum robot thing, because it may be a silly end game, but like there is love and creativity and art going into this fucking thing that while someone might think it's amusing for 10 seconds and they like it, I'm sitting here like, fuck, what is going on in your mind, man? Because like
yeah.
this is fucking awesome. Like
It's like
what's
looking at a
inspiring you
Jackson
and shit?
Pollock kind of thing. You're just like, holy shit! Like, what are you thinking, dude? Like, how did your brain get here? I really want to know
exactly.
this.
Exactly. It makes you think.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when I look at a crazy build that's, just a bunch of technical stuff, I don't think. I just go, that's cool.
Yeah, or like you like I know that like to achieve that I just need to ask somebody a question about how to technically execute it, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like versus looking at art, like you walk a museum of modern art, so much of that art just makes you think. You stand there and you're like, what was happening here? Like, what did they like?
Sometimes
I'm like, even doing art shows, people would come up to me and they'd be like, what are you trying to communicate in this painting? I'm like, what does it say to you? Like, I'm not going to tell, like, make your own story off of this. Make it cause
it
you
could
to
be
think.
because your story might be really cool, or maybe like how was Stone at Applebee's, man, and just fucking
exactly.
started doing
and
shit.
Some of that was just like, dude, I was just like hanging out. I thought it'd be really cool to do a fucking monster. Like, it's dope, right? Like, yeah, but I thought it was much deeper. I was getting this thing about like, you're like, so just live in that world.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
care what
thing.
I'm doing.
Yeah,
just make it think. Like, think about it. How did they do this? Wow, this is cool. Like, are they trying to communicate something in this? Like,
yeah, it's all about making shit. Like, it's if you can put your thing down in front of someone, they're like, and they start thinking about that. That's fucking cool. That's like someone really enjoying a song you wrote or a book you wrote, and then like trying to think about like, well, what happened to this, and where did this come from, and who's that, and why is it doing that? Like, you get into that creative realm, and that's also where inspiration comes from, because you're like, ooh,
yeah,
I want to try that. I want to do that.
yep. Well, and getting more eyes on it, getting more exposure to it is just going to create an opportunity to have more of those circumstances with people where they get into it and they're like, I don't want to do it super technical. I just want to do it like me. Or they stumble onto like Jay stuff and they're just like, yo, like, I didn't know that like this was a thing. Like, I'm going to try this, or this Afubi, and again, it leads in. So for me, I'm cool with it. Like, I'm like, do it. Everybody get out there. Like, everybody's bent that there's a Target exclusive. Fuck it. Like, let Target get it. Like, what does that take away from you getting another kit? Like, or getting into 3D printing because you can't get the kit you want. Like, who cares? Like, just do it.
Oh, 1 second.
And for all those Supreme haters, watch that video you're talking about, or watch Cherry by William Strobeck.
Oh my god!
You want to see some fucking amazing skateboarding and cool culture?
I thought something was wrong. Rachel was yelling here playing fucking VR. I'm like, what is going on? Why are you yelling so much? Yeah, I'm so lost. I thought you were like dead or something, because you're like, playing VR.
Like, somebody in the house?
There's someone in the house, but they're
playing Beat Saber. Die! Cube.
That's been our recent little addition we got as a gift was fucking VR, but it's good with like helping with like rage and fucking physical shit. It's tight. It's fun as fuck.
It's fun. I played it a bit. I definitely consider getting it. I just don't have a Facebook account, so.
yeah, you have to unfortunately do that shit, but
it's fun. My buddy brought one over when he visited, and it was a lot of fun. We played that.
That shit's fun as hell.
Well, hell yeah, man. It's getting late for you, so I'm gonna let you get back. We've been chatting for a while now. I really appreciate it.
Dude, this has been a good chat. I'm really stoked we had this, because like I feel this hopefully helps some people.
Yeah.
It inspires some people to try some new things. Hopefully we answered some good questions.
Young John thanked us for our help. He was got some good advice from it.
Hell yeah! And then also book number 2.
Book
That's
number
that's
2,
what it's all about, baby. I'm stoked for that shit. You gonna
which
see
we got to
the
have another conversation about offline, dude. We got to belly
Cody
bands
Nate?
or sleeve,
Ooh, yeah.
because we
Whew.
got to go to Print Ninja. I don't know. I mean, I don't think we're gonna have the full registrant. A couple of people have already dropped, but I still
Fucking
think
Omnistrip.
we might max out the page count with you. So I want to figure out how we can.
Yeah, that's we'll figure it out. We'll figure it
I
out.
don't know.
'Cause I
I'm
think
all down. I'm down for two books. I think that would be dope on a
fucking
shelf.
two-parter.
Yeah.
Two-parter.
I mean, eventually it's gonna have to get there, right? If it triples or
It'll be
quadruples again
the
next year.
Cerulean Project Volume 6, but it's like the zoo book commercials. It's like do all the
Encyclopedia
zoo books.
Britannica of
Yeah,
Cerulean Project. Like, you
that'd be
today can
fucking
get
dope.
26 volumes for
The year's
19.
2400 and the Cerulean Project Jedi archives have been brought to fire by Anakin Skywalker.
It's
Good
either
night.
that or I'm probably going to have to do a registration close off for the book. And then everybody after that's just like an online, like a digital format book.
That might be I never thought about that. That might be some shit. And see,
So then
this
we
is
get
how shit happens. It's just
the real
playing and
serious
talk
people.
about
Yeah,
it.
we'll take it offline. We'll definitely have some conversations about it because I want to pick your brain about it, and both from a production standpoint and a concept standpoint.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I can't
Hell
see
yeah.
chat, but thanks everyone for fucking hanging out and talking and asking questions, I guess. I don't know.
It was a TED Talk. It was better than a TED Talk. So
Hell
we
yeah.
good. We
Fuck
good. We
Ted. I don't
crushed
even
it.
know who Ted is. Ted Cruz? Ted
Ted Cruz?
Bundy? They both suck.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, dude.
All right. I'll see y'all later.
Have a great night, dude.
Keep
Thanks
it dirty.
again.
See y'all later.
Ciao, buddy.